All right, so what I'm seeing is a growing trend where we're seeing more and more phishing scams, and to the point where they're getting sophisticated enough. I'm actually getting calls and emails from friends and family wanting to know if a phishing scam that they've been hit with is legit. So that's a big problem. And yeah, so of course I always do some investigation, figure out, nope, this one's a scam, and have been able to save my friends and family from having to worry about that. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing as a big change in the security world.
So I definitely, phishing scam seems to be the only thing that's really a problem in the Mac world at this particular moment. I haven't seen any viruses in the wild. Haven't seen any of them. Certainly haven't seen any of them being a problem. Trojans seem to be gaining a little strength in their effectiveness, or at least their presence. But the phishing scams seem to be getting more and more sophisticated. And you know, with Apple's move towards sandboxing, with which I have lots and lots of problems, that actually should help with even more of the security issues on the Mac, except for things like the phishing scams. And I don't know how much you can do to protect people against their own ignorance when it comes to a phishing, because I mean, phishing scams prey on ignorance. And there are lots of people who aren't savvy about these things, who don't understand that it's easy to make an email look like whatever you want it to look like. It's easy to make a web page look like whatever you want it to look like, and they just don't understand. And that, of course, is what the phishing guys are preying on. And I don't know how to solve ignorance yet.
My background is in graphic design. I worked in pre-press, so I was getting in tons of files from all kinds of clients. And a lot of those files were coming in with viruses because they were Windows users. So what I ended up having to do was install virus protection software on my Mac, not so that I could protect myself, but so that I had an alert system so that I could contact my clients and tell them, here's the virus your PC has right now. I fixed this file, but you need to get someone to fix your computer. So that's a problem that's been around for a long time, and I don't see that changing because, well, that's the way the world is. So if there was a better way for Mac users to be able to figure out what viruses are out there, no. If there was a better way for Mac users to be able to realize that files they're getting from other people have a Windows virus, and they had an easy system for notifying those people, that would be cool.
I'll take a slightly more mercenary stance. There's a limit to how much this is my problem. I think everybody should be on a Mac to begin with. And if I certainly don't want to be the unwitting spreader of a virus, even from forwarding some PR agency's document that's infected, but I haven't lost any sleep on it, and I don't plan to anytime soon.
There was a guy here I talked with yesterday that said those on the dark side deserve it.
I won't go that far. It's not that I want to see people be infected, but I mean, this is not news. The problem with viruses, the problem with infected files is old. And, you know, I don't want to see anyone else infected, but I'm not going to accept too much responsibility for it.
Fair enough.
Which, you know, I realize that of course you want to actually be able to find a way to sell a product that will actually solve that problem, and there are certainly people that should take a more proactive stance. You know, especially people that are working with a lot of corporate files, for instance, some kind of consultants doing graphic work. I don't know. I have mixed feelings.
One thing I wanted to ask you guys, in the MacKeeper bundle, there's also anti-theft. The anti-theft, of course, gets the IP address and takes a photo, a snapshot of the feed, and then it'll email it back to your Theobit account. Now, in the United States, if you have an IP address, unless your average criminal is not going to think to use a proxy and below that. What's your thought on anti-theft? How valuable is that?
How often do you back up?
How often do you back up?
Right. Well, okay.
Yeah.
So my point is, if you're backing up regularly, the value in recovering your computer quickly goes down. Although
There's the hardware expense.
there's the hardware expense. Yeah. Well, yeah, the hardware that's a real tangible, serious expense that you have to deal with. The data itself, even though that's an intangible thing, that's the more valuable part in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, I mean, the cost of having to replace a hardware totally sucks. So having a nice way to be able to recover your computer, potentially recover your computer, yeah, that's cool.
And it seems like that would have more value depending on who you are and what kind of work and play habits you might have. If you're going around leaving your computer in places where it can be stolen all the time, if you live in a high crime neighborhood, obviously that's going to have more value. A lot of people are probably not going to ever have to worry about that. So I think there's a mixed value proposition there. For some people, it's going to be high. For a lot of people, it's going to not necessarily be that high.
You know, actually, a big problem I see is getting people to take that proactive step of trying to protect their computer. As an example, I go to Starbucks, hang out there, do some writing, and the number of people that leave their laptop sitting on a table and go outside to smoke, talk on the phone, go get another drink, whatever, is stunning. And I can't imagine ever doing that. My guess is that the people that are willing to just walk away from their computer for even a minute are also the people that won't be thinking about putting software on their computer to try and recover their computer when it gets stolen.
Certainly, you're going to have a higher percentage of people who are thinking about this who have already had it happen to them once.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's like people that have a religious data backup system because they've already lost all their data.
Right.
What about file encryption? Do either of you guys ever do any file encrypting for your personal documents?
Jeff?
Yes, not as much as I used to because the tools that are available to me today don't make it as easy to encrypt as I would like, which is kind of ironic because back in the Mac OS 9 days, man, I had everything encrypted. I was running PGP through my email client and digital signatures and all my messages. I mean, I was like hardcore with my protection. So what I'm doing now, because the tools that I need aren't as easily, they're not there for me. Now that I'm on Lion, I'm doing the full disk encryption, and that's my first line of encryption defense. But yeah, that's something that historically I have been involved in a lot.
No, and I should, and I'm an idiot for not doing so.
Do you at least back up, Brian?
Yeah.
Okay, so
But I'm backing up.
So
to
you're
an
not
in-
completely
to an
dead to
internal
me.
hard drive because it was taking too much of my network resources. It was really making me mad.
we're gonna have to have a talk.
Yeah, I know. I'm like the poster child for stupidity on this issue.
Now, I'm just curious, how often do each of you back up?
Huh.
Hourly.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scheduled hours?
Okay, so
And that's part of why I switched to an internal disk. It was taking, like I said, it was taking too many of my network resources.
all right, here's my backup routine. Hourly with Time Machine. Nightly, I have external hard drive backup that happens. And then on the 1st and 15th of the month, I have a DVD archiving that happens. Every Friday morning, my offsite backup happens.
That's serious.
So that's my backup routine.
Do you know Bob Levitas? He's
Dr.
also known
Mac.
as Dr. Mac. He's written 50 for Dummies books. When Power Computing was around, he wrote 7.5 for Dummies. His backup routine that he described back then, back in the days of floppy disks, involved having a daily set of floppy disks, a monthly set of floppy disks that went to the bank and sat in a vault.
Sure, because you need to have the offsite backup. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you don't really have a backup.
And a weekly set of backups also. And I remember just reading through that and just glazing over at the idea of all that work. Anyway,
That's cool.
I'm Bryan Chaffin with the Mac Observer in San Jose.
And I'm Jeff Gamet with the Mac Observer from Denver.